All right, welcome to this video where our objective is that we're going to be able to graph linear inequalities. So these are still linear functions. Remember, linear functions always have a slope and a y-intercept. You know, sometimes we call the slope the constant rate of change because that's part of a linear function. So it still has these parts, but the difference is instead of having an equal sign, we're going to have an inequality sign, all right? So instead of having, let me erase this, give myself a little more space again. Instead of always seeing this equal sign here, we'll see things like inequality signs, which is a greater than or equal to, or a less than or equal to, or a greater than sign, or a less than sign, all right? These are our four main inequality signs. I guess you could also have is not equal to, but we won't really see that with graphing. So we'd really be focusing on these four here, right? Instead of just equations. So a lot of the same skills apply here that we've been working on, but now we have to really take it up a notch and add a couple things to be able to do inequalities. And so I'm going to look at this graph here. I'm on example 1 now. I'll zoom in a little. And I'm first going to identify my parts because before I can make an inequality, I need to know some of the points on the line. We have our m, our slope is -2, and our y-intercept is +7. And so I'm always going to begin with my y-intercept. I'm going to start at 7. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And so the y-intercept is always on the y-axis. Remember, this is y and this is x. Y moves vertically, x moves horizontally. And so my first point here is at 7. Maybe I'll use a different color besides black. Blue here. All right, so the first point is at 7 on the y-axis. Now the slope tells me how to get the next points. Well, here I have the slope is -2, but I really prefer the slope to be a fraction. And so I can put -2 over 1 because -2 divided by 1 is still -2. So I didn't really change anything. And so now it looks like the change in y over the change in x. This is going to tell me to go down 2 and over 1. So down 2, over 1, down 2, over 1. This pattern continues forever because it's a constant rate of change, right? Down 2 over 1, down 2 over 1, down 2 over 1, down 2 over 1. This continues forever. So now I have a bunch of points that are on this line. But here's where it gets different. If this was an equation, we would just connect the points and we'd have our line and we'd be done. But this is a little bit different. We have a less than sign right here, right? We have a less than sign. This less than sign does not have an equal sign, right? This is just less than. What that means is that the line is not included in the inequality. And so when there's no line, when there's no equal sign, instead of doing a solid line, we'll do some kind of dashed line to show that it's not included. Just like this, right? So now I have this dashed line, and now I have to shade. So I'm going to shade because everything less than this line is included. So I'm going to shade downwards. And so obviously shading wasn't a part when we had equal signs because it's only a solution if it's on the line. But for inequalities, any point in this shaded region is a solution to the inequality, right? This point is a solution to the inequality. This point is not a solution to the inequality. This point is a solution. This point right here, not a solution. It's on the line. And remember, the line is not included in this one. All right, I'm getting a little bit ahead of myself, but that can be helpful to know. All right, let's move on. We'll do another example here. Example 2, before you try some on your own. Okay, right here in red. Again, still a linear function that we have here. My b is 4, obviously. The y-intercept is the constant, the number 2, the number by itself. And the slope is -1/2. So this tells me to begin at 4. And the change in y over the change in x is -1/2. So I'm going to go down 1, over 2. Down 1 over 2. Down 1 over 2. This pattern continues forever because it's a constant rate of change. And now I'm going to connect these points into a line. I'm going to use a solid line this time because right here, well, I just drew a perfect square. Right here I have a equal sign, right? This line underneath is an equal sign. So that means the line is included. So now I can connect these points with a solid line. And there we go. My last point is to figure out, do I shade up or down? This is a greater than sign, so that means I shade up. And there we have it. All right, that is graphing linear inequalities. Let's hop down to 2 U-dos. This is where I'd like you to pause the video. And why don't you just go ahead and solve both? And then unpause the video when you finish. And I'm going to quickly go over those. So 3, 2, 1, pause the video. Okay, hopefully you're unpausing the video now and you're ready for me to go over these. You've already solved them. Again, I'm going to move quickly since it's a U-do. First, we're going to identify our slope and y-intercept. The order was reversed here, but it doesn't matter, right? It doesn't always have to look exactly like y equals mx plus b. The number by itself is the constant to the y-intercept, and the coefficient to x is always the slope. And so I'm going to begin at -4. My slope is positive 3 over 4, so I'm going to go up 3 over 4, up 3 over 4. Okay, and 2, 3, 4. Whoops, I thought I stalled for a second there because I was counting. I was like, did I just count wrong? 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4. All right, try to get a little confident and not really count there. Okay, so now I have my points. I'm going to determine, is this a solid line or a dotted line? And it's going to be solid because, look, this includes an equal sign. Equal signs mean solid lines. So I'll connect a solid line here. And now I got to decide if I shade up or down. This is a less than sign, so I'm going to shade down. All right. Now let's do the next one. Again, I'll go pretty quick. I have my slope is 1/5. My y-intercept b is 6. So I'm going to start at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Up 1 over 5. Up 1 over 5. Now here, it's just a regular less than sign, right? This is a regular less than sign. There's no line underneath, which means there's no equal sign. So I'm just going to connect these with a dashed line. There we go. And then because this is a greater than sign, I'm going to shade above the line. And that's it. Hopefully this wasn't too difficult. It does require a lot of skills. And so if you've missed out on earlier lessons and earlier skills, it is difficult. And it requires a lot of catching up. But if you've been following along, it's not too much to handle. Like always, if you have questions, go see your teacher at Coach Class.